Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avataravarishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Offering my Sastanga Pranam at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, Mother Sharda Devi and Swami Vivekananda, I offer my heartfelt pranams to all of you. Few days back, it was the Janmatithi or the birthday of one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, that is Swami Abhedanandaji Maharaj. Ramakrishna used to call him as a perfected yogi in his last birth. He had very little to attain, and so he was born in this life to continue where he had stopped. So his life is termed as yogi par excellence. He was a great Sanskrit scholar too, and he has composed many Sanskrit hymns. And one of the famous is Prakritim Paramam Abhayam Varadam on Mother Sharda Devi, where he composed that, and he went to Mother, prostrated before her, and then told her, Mother, I have composed this stotra on you. I just want to render that in front of you. Mother agreed, and when he chanted that Prakritim Paramam, and when that line, particular line, Tadgata Prana, Ramakrishna Gata Prana, in that verse where the prana, the whole vital energy, the thought, the mind, everything is merged in Sri Ramakrishna. When it was heard, Mother Sharda Devi went into deep trance and she was shedding tears. So he was such a great Sanskrit scholar, and not only just a scholar, but an inspired scholar. Ascertaining what is right and what is wrong is a great dilemma in human life. Sometimes people try to hide their mistakes by keeping quiet, concealing the truth, philosophizing and excusing improper conduct or arguing to defend their actions. This is the nature of weak-minded people. That person is truly great who does not hesitate to confess a mistake and tries to correct it immediately. Sometimes students do not see their own mistakes. So, a real teacher always comes forward to correct them. The earlier name of Swami Abhedanandaji Maharaj, that is the pre-monastic name, was Kali Prasada. Kali was serving his Guru Sri Ramakrishna during his last illness at Kasipur Garden House. There were 2 ponds in that compound, stocked with plenty of fish. Kali was a good angler. He was a small boy then, a youth. He was a good angler. One day, he caught some fish. You know, they take that fishing rod and put the hook and they catch the fish. So that's why it is termed as he was a good angler. He caught some fish, and news of this reached the master. In the evening, when Kali was serving Sri Ramakrishna, the master asked this youthful Kali, My dear boy, is it true that you have been catching many fish with a fishing rod? Yes, sir. Now the master said, it is a sin to catch fish with a fishing rod, for thereby living beings are killed. It will be very painful for the fish. Now, immediately, Kali, because he was a great Sanskrit scholar, he knew so many verses from the scriptures. In defense, immediately Kali quoted from the Bhagavad Gita itself. Now, what was that? He who thinks that the self, that is the Atman, is the slayer, is a killer, as well as he thinks that the self is slain. Neither the Atman, which is our true nature, can kill anybody. At the same time, the Atman cannot be killed by anybody. It cannot be destroyed. So that verse from the Bhagavad Gita was chanted. What is that verse? Where is it in Bhagavad Gita? In the second chapter, the 19th verse. I think last month, few sessions back, on Tuesday, where we discussed Bhagavad Gita, this particular verse was discussed in with deeper meaning, and elaborately it was discussed. What is that? Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, while he was refusing to fight as a Kshatriya, because that was his duty as a warrior. What did Lord Krishna tell? Ya enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tauna vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. He who takes the self or the Atman as the slayer, because our body only gets killed, the Atman will not be killed. So Lord Krishna is telling, he who takes that our self, our true nature, as the slayer, and he who takes it to be slain, both of them do not know the reality. The self, that is the Atman, neither slays nor it is slain. That is the meaning. So now, very easily, now in English especially, amongst the Christian, there is a saying. What is that? Devil quoting the scriptures. You can't exactly adapt here, but even then, that quotation can be read. What do? We will do many mistakes, and we will take up some scriptural notes, and to think that I am right, to prove that I am right, I will go on quoting those scriptures. So now Ramakrishna could read his mind, and he told, now when Kali quoted from the Gita, he who thinks that the self is slayer as well as he who thinks the self is slain is ignorant, for the self neither slays nor is slain. The 19th verse in the second chapter. Not only that, he further added, he started advising Sri Ramakrishna itself. So, why should be a sin to catch fish through the rod? Was the question he posed to Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna smiled and tried to make Kali understand through various arguments. He said, when a person attains true knowledge about himself or God, when he realizes God, he cannot take a false step. He does not commit any mistake. Suddenly, the master began coughing, and there was a trace of blood in his sputum. Frightened by this, Kali told him, Sir, your talking will aggravate your pain in the throat. Please do not talk anymore. But the master said, My dear child, I consider you to be one of the most intelligent amongst all these boys. You will understand the truth of this statement if you meditate on what I have said. So now you can see Master is teaching how should we read our scriptures. Is it just to read like novel and just forget it? No, we have to read. That is, we have to hear from the elders, we have to read it. Then Shravana, Manana, chewing the cud. You should go through that. That is the method. Think on that. Meditate on that. According to Sri Ramakrishna's instructions, Kali meditated for 3 days on this particular verse. Can you imagine? He meditated for 3 days and realized the meaning behind the statement of Master. He went to the Master and said, "Sir, I have now realized why it is wrong to catch fish with that fishing rod. I shall not do it again. Please forgive me." The Master was very pleased to hear this. He said, Why is it wrong here? It is deceitful to catch the fish in this way, hiding a hook inside the bait. You all know how the fish rod is done. There will be a hook pin, very sharp, and you will pierce one earthworm or some bait into that another worm, killing another worm. You put it into that and you drop it into the water. The fish, out of hunger, it wants to eat food. It comes and eats this, and its throat is stuck to this hook, and it will be very, very painful. So you are deceiving an animal with a bait. That is very, very sinful. That is what Master is telling. That is not the way. So now Master was very pleased to hear when he told that it is deceitful to catch fish in this way, hiding a hook inside the bait and hiding. It is just like hiding poison in food offered to an invited guest. They are sinful of the sin of the same kind. Kali humbly accepted what the Master said and felt his infinite compassion. So that's why many a times directly reading the scriptures without the help of the Guru or the people who have realized that or gone forward in spiritual life, it may mislead us to. It may lead us to a wrong application of the scriptures in our life, and we may get into trouble. In Kathopanishad, Yamadharmaraya, our Yama, Lord Yama, while teaching that Kata Upanishad about the Atman and the Paramatman to that young boy Nachiketa, he tells many people, they think that they know the truth and they go on trying to teach it to others without first realizing themselves. So it is just like Andhenaiva niyamana yatandha andakupe patanti. The blind leading the blind. Both of them will go and fall into the ditch. So he himself is blind. He will try to lead another blind person. What will happen? Both of them will go and fall into the ditch. So we should take the help of such great souls like Ramakrishna. When we read the life of Sri Ramakrishna, teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, then we can understand the scriptures properly. Otherwise, it is great confusion. We have seen how everybody confuses us with different statement about our scriptures, and what is happening in our Hinduism, you can know that. Now, after learning it, it is true that the Atman does not die, nor is it killed. Ramakrishna continued. But he who has realized this truth is the Atman himself. So why should he have tendency to kill others? As long as the tendency to kill another person remains, he is not identified with the Atman or God, nor does he have any self-knowledge, Atmagnana. That is why I say that when one attains true knowledge, one does not take any false step. You should realize that the Atman is beyond the body, the sense organs, the mind, and the intellect, and that it is the witness of phenomena. The Master's words penetrated Kali's heart, and he realized the truth. So this Kali Prasada Chandra was born on Tuesday, 2nd October 1866. That is the English calendar. It will go on varying according to the Hindu calendar, the Tithi and the Nakshatra. At 21 Nimu Goswami Lane, Aiharitola, North Kolkata. His father was Rasik Lal Chandra. Then he had the first wife, with the first wife, he had one son named Bihari Lal. So when that wife passed away, he married the second time. So through that wife, Kali was born. Her name was Nayanatara. Nayanatara prayed to the Divine Mother Kali for a son. When the child was born, she gave him the name Kali Prasada, the blessings of Mother Kali. In 1871, at the age of 5, this boy was admitted to Govinda Seal's nursery school, where he studied for 2 years. He learned the alphabet, heard the stories from the Ramayana and Mahabharata, and began to memorize Sanskrit verses on morality and ethics. He then joined Jadu Pandit's Banga Vidyalaya, and in the evening he would go to study Sanskrit school at Hathi Bagan, where he studied Sanskrit grammar. Kali was a bright student and a voracious reader. During this period, along with his regular academic studies, he also studied classical Sanskrit literature. Morning to the evening, it would be study in the Western education system, and after or in the evening, he used to go to study Sanskrit scriptures. So, the Sanskrit literature, including Hitopadesha, Raghuvamsham, Kumarasambhavam, Shakuntala, and Bhattikavyam, everything he studied in that young age. He learned prosody. What is that prosody? And he could compose poetry, poems or verses in Sanskrit. At the age of 10, Kali was admitted to the Oriental Seminary. All this he did within the age of 10. So you can imagine how intelligent he was. Now, let us directly jump, instead of going into other details, to his contact with his Guru, Sri Ramakrishna. The scriptures now did not quench Kali's thirst for knowledge. So he desperately searched for a spiritual teacher. In June 1884, Kali went to Dakshineshwar and met Sri Ramakrishna. In his autobiography, he describes their first meeting. I became restless to find a guru who could teach me yoga. I confided my desire to my classmate, Yagneshwar Bhattacharya, who was very fond of me. Yagneshwar told me, I know a wonderful yogi. His name is Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and he lives in Rani Rasamani's temple garden in Dakshineshwar. He has no pretensions at all. Many respectable people visit him, and he sometimes comes to Calcutta also. Perhaps he can fulfill your desire to learn yoga. My joy knew no bounds when I heard this from Yagneshwar, and I at once resolved to meet Sri Ramakrishna, though I had no idea where Dakshineshwar was. Now you can see, Ravana was on the deathbed, or not deathbed, it was the arrow of Ramachandra had hit him, and he had fallen down on the battleground, about to die. Then Sri Ramachandra's greatness was so much, he sent his brother Lakshmana. See, he is a great scholar, he is a Vedic Pandit, he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. So before his death, go and learn some good things from him, because the dying man always tells the truth. See that the greatness of Sri Ramachandra. He sent his brother to learn from his enemy. Wherever the truth, wherever the great teachings can come from, let it come. That is our Vedic dictum. Ano Badraha Kratavo Yantu Vishwataha. Let all the good things come to us from all the directions. We should not be limiting ourselves. Wherever the good thing, it should come. Now, when Ravana was asked, what did he give? What was the famous statement? So many teachings were there, but important one is Shubhasya Shighram, Ashubhasya Kalaharanam. What is the meaning of that statement? Shubhasya Shighram, whatever good things you learn in your life, whether from your elders or guru or the scriptures, put into practice immediately. Whatever is good, Immediately do that. Do not postpone it. Do not procrastinate. That is Shubhasya Shigram. Shigram is very quickly. Then what about the second half? Ashubhasya Kalaharanam. Any bad things, you know that is bad, your conscience will tell it is not right. Going for alcohol and drug addiction and the bad company and the bad things to do. Out of curiosity, let me try a little. No. Ashubhasya Kalaharanam. Postpone it, push it. Do not go for that. Once you fall, then you can't come out of it. So now Ravana, he is telling, Shubhasya Shigram. Good things, quickly implement, do it immediately. Bad things, postpone. Ashubhasya Kalaharanam. See, this boy, immediately, when he came to know there was a great soul living there in Dakshineshwar at this young age, he didn't hesitate. He immediately went to that place to meet that great person. So, if we can know that we are going to earn some good money, then we rush. And any other thing, we are going to get some sense pleasure, we rush. But any spiritual being has come, no. There is a lot of time for that. Let us go in our old age, when we can't see, when we can't hear, when all the teeth have fallen down, then let us go, not now. So that will be the attitude. But see, this great soul, Kali, he immediately wanted to go and see Sri Ramakrishna. One Sunday morning, I started for Dakshineshwar by asking directions from people on the street. I crossed the Bagh Bazaar bridge and walked north on the Barakpur trunk road. It was quite a distance. I then asked a person on the road about the temple garden, because there was no Google map or Google direction at that time. There was no Google Mama to show the direction. So he had to ask people, walk, no taxi, no bus or train or whatever. So he had to walk such a long distance, and he asked many people, he missed the way. It was quite a distance in that young age. So see, you can see that eagerness. I then asked a person on the road about the temple garden of Dakshineshwar. He told me, "Oh, my child, you have gone the wrong way. The Kali temple is on the bank of Ganga. You have gone in another direction." Finally, I reached the temple garden at 11 o'clock. When I asked about Sri Ramakrishna in the temple worker informed me that Sri Ramakrishna had gone to Calcutta that morning. Now it was such a disappointment. I was exhausted, having walked all that way barefooted in the sun, disappointed. I sat on the steps of Sri Ramakrishna's northern veranda and wondered how I could ever go back to Calcutta. I was hungry and thirsty. I was dead tired. I had no money. I had not informed my family as to where I was going. I had no acquaintance in Dakshineshwar, and moreover, I had no strength to walk back to Calcutta. I began to cry. Just then, another young man arrived and asked me about Sri Ramakrishna. And I told him that he had gone to Calcutta. That young man was also disappointed. We then talked and got acquainted with each other. On inquiry, I learned that his name was Shashi Bhushana Chakravarti. Later on, he became another direct disciple, that is Swami Ramakrishnananda. Sri Ramakrishna used to call him the disciple of Christ in his last birth. So, he met this Shashi. He advised me about my circumstances, saying, have a bath in the Ganga, take prasad of the Kali, and then return to Calcutta after rest. Later in the afternoon, when I expressed my intention to return to Calcutta, Shashi told me, you should not return home without seeing the Master. Is there any certainty that such an opportunity will come again in your lifetime? Since you have come to see him with so much of difficulty, it is better for you to wait. I knew my parents would be worried about me. I had not told them where I was going. Understanding how I felt, Shashi said to me, look, brother, I have also come here without informing my parents. Don't worry. We shall stay here tonight. The Master will positively return from Calcutta by late evening. as he never stays overnight at any devotee's house in Calcutta. Shashi showed me around. In the evening, he took me to the Kali temple to attend the Vesper service, Arati. Sayam Arati. I felt tremendous peace and joy. Ramlal, the master's nephew, gave me some luchis, that is the fried puri, and sweets for refreshment. We waited on the northern veranda for master's arrival. Finally, a horse carriage arrived at the northern corner of the master's room, and Shashi and Ramlal went to receive the master. My heart was beating hard. I stood where I was, motionless. After getting down from the carriage, Sri Ramakrishna uttered Kali, 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 entered his room and sat on his cot. Ramlal and Shashi informed the master about me while I waited on the veranda. Then Ramlal came out and said that master was waiting for me. I entered the room and bowed down to him. The master asked about me, and I told him, I have a desire to learn yoga. Will you kindly teach me? The master kept quiet for a while and then said, it is a good sign that you have a desire to learn yoga at this young age. Master could read his mind. Not only that, he could know his past, his present, his future. Not only that, about every life he had taken, earlier life too. So immediately, Master told him, you were a yogi in your previous life. A little was left for perfection. This will be your last birth. Yes, I shall teach you yoga. Rest tonight and come to me again tomorrow morning. The next morning, Ramlal told me the master was waiting to see me. Entering his room, I bowed down to him. He then asked me what I was studying, and I replied, I am now in the entrance class, 10th grade. Very good, said the master. Then he took me to the northern veranda. He asked me to sit on the cot. When I was seated in the lotus posture, the master asked me to stick out my tongue. As soon as I did that, he wrote a mantra on my tongue. He wrote a mantra on it with the middle finger of his right hand and advised me to meditate on Mother Kali, the Divine Mother. I did what he said. Gradually, I lost outer consciousness and sat in deep meditation. I felt an unspeakable joy within. I don't know how long I stayed in that condition. After some time, the master touched my chest and brought me back to outer consciousness. He then asked me what had happened, and I told him about my blissful experience during meditation. He was very pleased. Afterwards, the master instructed me on meditation and sang these lines of a mystical song. When will you sleep in the divine chamber with the clean good and the unclean evil, when these two wives are friendly to each other? Mother Shama, that is Kali, will be within your reach. The master further told me to meditate every morning and again at night to report to him my visions and spiritual experiences. Then the master asked me to go to Kali temple and meditate there. When I returned from the temple, the master gave me prasad and asked me to visit him again. He even offered to provide my fare if I could not get it from home. In the meantime, a devotee had arrived by carriage from Calcutta to visit the master, and the master asked me to return home with that devotee. On my way back home, I thought of the master's overwhelming love and compassion. Now, I'm not going to narrate about commotion in the house because you had not come. Mother and father were crying. Let me now take you to another important aspect of the vision of this boy by the touch of Sri Ramakrishna. What is that? According to the instructions of Sri Ramakrishna, Kali vigorously started practicing tapasya, meditation, japa, and all the other austerities. And later on, Swami Vivekananda and others used to call him as Kali Tapasvi. That was the intensity of his austerities. Now, when he came back to Sri Ramakrishna after this instruction, Kali began to practice spiritual disciplines under the master's guidance, and through his grace was blessed with many wonderful visions of gods and goddesses. One day, while meditating at home, Kali saw various gods and goddesses and divine incarnations, Krishna, Christ, Chaitanya, and other gods and goddesses. That images were in that vision merging one by one into the luminous form of Sri Ramakrishna. I had the vision of a luminous form of the body of Sri Ramakrishna, into which all these images, all the images of gods and goddesses were merging one by one into the luminous form of Sri Ramakrishna. He immediately after this meditation hastened to Dakshineshwar and narrated this experience to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna smiled. He was not fascinated. Oh, you had the vision of my body. No. What was the reply? Sri Ramakrishna said, you have seen Vaikuntha. Today, you have seen, he is telling, I have seen your luminous body into which all the gods and goddesses were merging. But Master is telling, today you have seen Vaikuntha. What is Vaikuntha? The abode of Lord Vishnu. So, that was the beautiful visions he used to have. You have seen Vaikuntha, the abode of Vishnu. Henceforth, you will no longer have the visions with form. You have risen to the formless state. This proved to be true. From then on, during meditation, Kali used to try to get the visions of different forms of gods and goddesses. Whatever he tried, he couldn't. He could only have formless vision. So, now this proved to be true. From then on, during meditation, Kali's mind was absorbed in the infinite, the vastness of the impersonal Parabrahman rather than divine forms. After this vision, Kali was fully convinced that the Master was the avatara of Vishnu, as he later wrote in a Sanskrit hymn to Sri Ramakrishna. So, we will end our discussion of the life of Swami Abhayadananda. There are so many wonderful incidences in his life, but shortage of time, I have created interest. You can go and study the life. It's really a wonderful life. I have to now connect this to our life. How? Another place, see, let us take this vision of Abhayadanandaji Maharaj, where Ramakrishna himself told, when he saw the luminous form, the body of Sri Ramakrishna, he told, you have seen Vaikuntha. You had the vision of Vaikuntha, the abode of Vishnu. In another place, Swami Vivekananda tells, Ramakrishna Center or Ramakrishna Ashrama is the physical body of Sri Ramakrishna. I always connect it. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. So, Ramakrishna Center or Ramakrishna Ashrama. What did Vivekananda tell? Ramakrishna Ashrama is the physical body of Sri Ramakrishna. So you are living, you have come, you are sitting in the physical body of Sri Ramakrishna. So, what do we connect? He is so graceful. We are all staying in Vaikuntha. People, after so much of hard tapasya, are given the chance to get to Vaikuntha after death. But the Lord, out of infinite compassion, we do not know what amount of tapasya we have performed. The Lord, even without our performing any austerities, has given this chance for us to come and stay in the Vaikuntha itself. Let us make use of this opportunity. Come again and again, make the benefit, full benefit of the stay in Vaikuntha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.